All right. Good evening and welcome to Likutey Moharan Shir Torah 24. So when we said that a person does mitzvahs b'simcha, that is, just lift it up a little bit. Okay. When he does mitzvahs b'simcha, this is something that enables him eventually to capture a fleeting essence of the supernal infinite light in a fashion of what they call you get it, you don't get it. I mean, mate, velo mate. And the process starts when you do the mitzvahs b'simcha. What it does is it elevates the malchus of the asiyah from its involvement inside the klipot. Right. So we said that when a person does the mitzvahs b'simcha, what happens is that the malchus gets elevated from the realm of the tumah, of the klipot, where it usually resides in order to sift the good that has fallen into the bed. And when a person does the mitzvahs b'simcha, the malchus comes up from the kelipot. In the upper worlds, there are four worlds: there's Atzilus, there's Bria, there's Yitzira and Asiyah, and each one has 10 sefirot. The Keseh, Chochmah, Bina, and where the Chochmah and the Bina they also comprise the Sefirah Sadas. Sometimes you count Kesef Chochmah Bina, and sometimes you count Chochmah Bina Das. But basically, we're talking about the same thing. So we have Kesef Chochmah Bina, Chesed, Gvura, Tiferes, Netzach, Chod Yisod, Malchus, and the Malchus in the Asiyah, that's the lowest sphere. That when a person does a mitzvah, b'simcha, the klipos cannot suction off the life force through it. That calls that it is elevated from them. And when a person does any kind of mitzvah b'simcha, the mitzvah has a koyach to elevate and excite and awaken all the upper realms to Avodas Hashem. As Moshe Rabbeinu said, Binareinu ubizkaneinu neilach, betzonenu ubivkareinu neilach. That basically Moshe Rabbeinu has told Paro, he's hinted to him that when they're going to do the mitzvah of Pesach b'simcha, they will awaken all the upper realms to Avodas Hashem. We said also that last week that what does it mean that when you do the mitzvahs b'simcha, that the malchus gets out of the klipot and therefore awakens all the upper realms to Avodas Hashem? What does it mean? And we gave a mashal that if you're looking out of a keyhole and you have a very limited frame, and you see a pair of pants walking by, that doesn't tell you anything. I mean, what do you mean pants walking by? The answer is obviously somebody is in those pants. Somebody is walking. Somebody is wearing those, but you don't see him. It's when you know that somebody is walking in those pants, you realize there's a person there. You don't see pants. You see a person that's wearing pants walking by. That means the same thing. The Malchus is what we see around us in our lives. And we think that we see, a physical reality that behaves in a haphazard manner, unexpected manner, and we are very susceptible to looking at things like, I should have done this or I should have done that. If I only would have done this, I only would have done that. That means that we are seeing the pants walking, and we don't recognize that somebody is actually wearing those pants, that somebody in those pants. We see reality, but we don't realize whose pants it is, whose clothing that reality is. There's a Shem in there. When you do the mitzvah b'simcha, when do you do anything b'simcha? When you are aware of the benefit of what you're doing, when the tayelis, the benefit of what you're doing, what you're going through, is so clear to you that you're going, yay, things are really going well. When do people become very depressed or depressed at all? Is when it seems to them that what's going on in their lives is basically empty pants walking. I mean, it's just reality that doesn't make any sense. And I happen to have a good luck or bad luck or this or that, that we don't recognize, what's in them. But when you do the mitzvah b'simcha, that means that it's not pants at all. It's not clothing at all. But it's somebody who is wearing the clothing, Zakodesh Baruch Hu here. Whatever is happening, I'm doing the mitzvah, I'm doing it b'simcha because the mitzvah is Zakodesh Baruch Hu gave me to do. I'm using reality, because mitzvahs are always negeya, always negeya, begashmius. Nosson says in the very famous Silchas Shluchim Halacha Hey, he starts by saying that it's a very deep concept, but we need to understand that you have a level that of pure reason, and then you have a level of what you call the power of imagination. We call it koyach hamadama. Now, Reb Nosson says pure reason has absolutely nothing to do with the physical world. In fact, Reb Nosson says the pure reason has no bechira. Pure reason knows what the truth is, and it is one with the Kadosh Baruch Hu. But he says that between pure reason and the physical reality, there's another power, and that particular power is the servant of reason, of pure reason, and that is the power of imagination. It is that power of imagination that deals with gashmias, with food, with relationships, whatever it is, with money and everything else. Pure reasons deals only with deals only with the Kadosh Baruch Hu alone. It's a very profound concept. You can think it through on your own, but basically, the reason for the existence of the power of imagination is to connect reason with reality so we can do mitzvahs. You can only do mitzvahs when the power of imagination, the medama, is involved. Because when you look at any reality, we'll go a little bit deeper here, but nevertheless, when you're looking at a reality, let's say you're looking at this tape. This is adhesive tape. So my powerful imagination sees adhesive tape. You would say, but that's what it is. Duh. Not so. Meaning, pure reason, which is the light of the 7 days of creation, when it looks at this tape, what it sees is godliness formed and constricted into a form of a tape. That's what reason sees. When the power of imagination sees this magnifying glass, it sees an object. When the power of reason sees this, he sees a Kadosh Baruch Hu formed into this. That's why they said that the light of the 7 days of creation, a person could see from one end of the world to the next. Meaning that you could see everything, you would see everything as a Kadosh Baruch Hu, as, formed into a tape, formed into a magnifying glass, or formed into a pen. It's all a lakus, it's all godliness. Now, we need to have that power of imagination, of medama, that will create a distance between the pure reasons that see only a Kadosh Baruch Hu and this physical object. And it convinces me, it hypnotizes me in a way that I'm seeing something which is totally physical and there's nothing else except for that. It's just a physical thing. Now, this is necessary because otherwise I will have no bechira. I won't even be able to do mitzvahs. I have to be under the quote unquote the influence of imagination to be able to see a poor person and realize that there's a distance between us. I have, he doesn't have. I have to take money out of my pocket and give it to him. There has to be this kind of distance, because if there was the only reason, all I see is just a Kodesh Baruch Hu, in this form or in that form. I have to overcome my blindness, as it were. In other words, I have to deal with my blindness. He is somebody else who does not have. I'm somebody who does have. And here, I take it out of my pocket and I give it to you. Which means without the power of imaginations, we won't even be able to do mitzvahs. The power of imagination is something that hides the true, clear, pristine reality of reason. And there's, maybe food is also important for the way it tastes, and in a chinami, the power of imagination can go overboard very, very easily and convince us there's nothing important about food except the way it tastes. There's nothing important about whatever happens to me except whether it feels good or doesn't feel good. This is when the Koyach HaMedama takes over and corrupts everything. But nevertheless, the imagination is crucial. That, how shall we call it, partial blindness that the power of imagination enforces on pure reason is a must, because there will be no bechira. So we can deal with the klipas. Because if you have pure reasons, there are no klipas. There's nothing except Hashem alone. There's a very famous matter in the Gemara when Rabbi Chanina ben Dosa came to Mitzrayim, and there was a witch that wanted to take some sand from underneath his feet in order to perform witchcraft on him. And Rabbi Chaim ben Dosa said, no problem, go ahead, you can take the sand. Enon milvado, there's no other reality except HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So, on the other hand, we find a different ma'aseh in the Gemara, I don't remember with who it was, that he went and he bought a donkey. And that donkey was actually performed through magic. And now the rule we also said in Sipur HaMaaseh is that when you take something which has been transformed magically to water, it loses the effect of magic. So that Tana, the Tamara, took the donkey, to water it. And when he took it to the water, poof, it stopped being a donkey and it became whatever it was before. I don't know if it was a wooden, what they call a wooden donkey, a wooden stand, whatever it is, it was. So he went back to that person that he bought it from and says, give me my money back. I bought a donkey from you. So that mechashef, that wizard, that warlock, told him, if you were not that choshev Tana or a moira, I'm not sure where it was, he said, I would have never given you your money back. And he says, you should check to see. You're buying a donkey, check that it's not something that is made through magic. So you have here two stories. One of them deals with a magic that succeeded, but when it came to the test of fire, or rather the test of water, the magic just dissipated, and whatever it was, came to fore. However, you have Rabbi Chaim ben Dosa, that the witch wanted to take sand from under his feet in order to make magic possible, and he told her, go ahead, no problem. You can take as much as you want. There's no other reality except HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So over here we see that you need to worry about magic, about witchcraft. And over here, we have Hamina and says, it's Gonish mit nicht. It's just a dream. Go ahead, take as much as you want. There's no reality except the Kodesh Baruch Hu. The answer is in the difference of how much the power of Koach HaMedama has been cleansed. How much it is already a pure servant like Eliezer, the slave of Abraham, is totally subservient to his master, to the point when it is able to overcome, he is able to overcome all the witchcraft thrown his way. And he says, Eved Avram Anochi, I'm the slave of Avram Avinu. Eliezer is the Koach HaMedama, Avram is Koach HaSeichel. There's nothing you can do. There's no damage that you can corrupt, to the pure reason when the Medama is totally subservient to pure reason. But we are living, as we see from the Maaseh of the donkey that was, created by witchcraft, that when the Medama is not on such, it's not as clean as Rabbi Chaim ben Dosa, there's a danger. There's a danger of mistake, because there's nothing like the Medama was created to mislead. And the work that we need to do in this world is to cleanse it to the point that it will become the servant that connects pure reason through the power of free choice to physical reality. So when the Malchus, the Malchus is called the legs of the Malchus are steeped inside the Kelipot, inside the Tumah throughout the week. This is called the legs. When we don't see HaKadosh Baruch Hu in it, when we say, okay, we're going to do a mitzvah, I have to go to shul, If you're not going to shul, like I'm feeling like I feel like a person feels like watching paint dry. Now, it's not very interested. Maybe a little bit, but not that interested. The answer is that when there is no simcha in the mitzvahs, all you're seeing is just an empty pair of pants. The mitzvahs b'simcha means you know that somebody is wearing those pants. Somebody is wearing that reality. That somebody is a Kadosh Baruch Hu. That gives life to the mitzvahs. And suddenly the mitzvahs become alive, and they excite the entire reality to avodas Hashem. This is called the malchus of the Asiyah, goes up outside, up from the Kelipot, and awakens all the Madrigas into avodas Hashem. So in Kabbalah, they said this is the Spheres of Malchus that goes up and becomes the clothing of Netzach Hod Yesod. Suddenly, it's not just the pants, it's not just the legs, but inside the Malchus, inside the pants, there is a Netzach Hod Yesod. There are the feet, there are the legs, which means suddenly the pants are not just hanging, but they're walking. The Netzach Hod Yesod, these are the Sfirot which are commensurate with the Raglaim, with the legs. And suddenly the mitzvahs, the empty pants, have legs in them. When the legs are in them, what happens? The legs walk. So the mitzvahs are walking. Netzach Hod Yesod are revealed. And this is the Netzach Hod Yesod of the Olam Asiyah. The Malchus goes up. Suddenly, inside those empty pants, the Malchus, when they get out of the Klipot, there's Netzach Hod Yesod. There's the Raglaim. They are the Klei Alichos, says Rabbeinu. Because Netzach is the right leg, and Hod is the left leg. And Yesod is Ois Bris Kodesh. And now in every single sphere, there is, as we learned before, there is the inner light, and there is the outer light, or Pnimi and or Chitzoni. When a person does the mitzvahs b'simcha, that elevates the malchus from the kilipos, then the inner light of the malchus goes up and surrounds the outer light of the Netzach Hod Yesod, which is above it. When we will learn in Mitzvah Hashem, Torah Chafhei, we will learn that particular principle a little bit deeper, because there is what they call the inner light. That's the kedusha of your Torah and your mitzvahs. And then you have the outer light, the external light. That's the inherent kedusha of your eating, your drinking, your masomatan, your. So what happens is that we already said before, just very shortly, that if the lower madrega, the inside kedusha, let's say, is 10, and the external kedusha is 5, when the malchus goes up from the kelipot, the 10, which is the inner light, becomes the makif to Netzach Hod Yesod. It becomes the makif to what would be the 1520, as it were. So now the Malchus is Makif Netzach Hod Yesod. Something is happening. There's a revelation for Kadosh Baruch Hu being active here. So the mitzvah starts walking. The mitzvah starts moving. The mitzvah starts awakening everybody to Kadosh Baruch Hu. As we will learn more about the mitzvah Hashem, Priyetz Chaim writes about it in first, and we say in B'ezrat Hashem in the next Torah Chafei with more details. Now, when the Malchus cloaks and clothes the Netzach Hod Yesod, the spheres of Netzach Hod Yesod, that gives the mitzvah the koyach. It's no longer an empty cloth, an empty clothing article. it becomes somebody is wearing that malchus. Then it starts walking, and it calls the entire oilamus to avodas Hashem. The Torah of Elokav is in its heart. Lo sima d'shura doesn't means it won't slip and fall down. It means that kira mitzvahs that is written in the Torah is bringing about the chizuk of the raglaim, of the legs, of the walking. Shehi, which is the malchus, it's the kedusha that is embedded in the mitzvot, that is surrounded, it's cloaking the netzach hod yesod, and it goes and it wakes up and excites everybody, calls everybody, let's go and be me'oyer the kedusha to avodas Hashem Yisbarach. And v'zeh bechinas halichos keli malki b'kodesh. This is what we said in the Halachos, that what we mean to say with that is that when we elevate the malchus, when we do the mitzvahs b'simcha, when we elevate it from the tumah into the kedusha, so then the malchus wraps up the halichos keli, the walking, the journey of my God, which is netzach hod yesod. These are the walking instruments. This goes to go and awaken everything and everybody to avodas Hashem. When we will finish this, the nekuda that we need to take for us is, it doesn't matter. I mean, yes, the more mitzvahs you do, the better it is. But if you find yourself shlufadik in avodas Hashem, shlufadik in learning, shlufadik in getting up in the morning, going to shul, whatever it is that you do, the way is take anything that you can. You make a bracha, you find yourself, you bought some cherries. You didn't eat cherries yet. You're going to make a bracha, shechianu. You make a bracha, boyer priya etz. When you think about it, and you do that bracha b'simcha, that will elevate you, your own netzach hod yesod. It wasn't just, call the entire world into avodas Hashem. First of all, it will elevate you into avodas Hashem. It gets you excited. It gets you into dealing with avodas Hashem. Suddenly you get cheshik. You want to daven. You want to learn. You want to do more mitzvahs. So that means that it doesn't matter where you start. Start from the small thing. If you do it b'simcha, you think about it, you stop, you think, okay, I'm holding a cherry in your hand. Wow, that's the first thing. It's a simcha, the gift HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave it to me. I'm going to say with great simcha. Thank you, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And that moves you into the next stage and wakes you up into avodas Hashem. Even if you find yourself dry as a desert, like you don't feel like doing anything. Kal v'chomer, if you do mean to do a lot. But even if you mean to do absolutely nothing, take something small, do it b'simcha, and that will get it going. A very easy thing to do, usually very, very effective, meeting in Torah Chafei. The easiest thing to do is to give tzedakah to somebody else. And a very important nekuda to say about it, and with this we will finish, is, so Rabbeinu says over there that the gadlus habayra, in other words, that revelation of HaKadosh Baruch Hu happens when you give tzedakah to oni hogun, for a fit and proper pauper. Obviously, the best thing is if you can give the money to somebody who is, an Oived Hashem, a Talmid Chacham, and everything. But you should know that Oni Hogun means a fit and proper means somebody, doesn't mean somebody that doesn't have money for Tefillin Rabbeinu Tam. It means somebody that doesn't even have Tefillin for Rabbeinu Rashi, of Rashi. Somebody that the question is not how madrega that particular person is. And what are the reasons that he doesn't have money? He should go and she should work. If he does not have money, for any reason, he is Oni Hagun. And the thing is, like we're talking about, okay, where do I find a proper pauper? Where do I find somebody who is a deserved Oni? The answer is, I'm telling you, there are many, 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 many more people who are proper pauper than people who are cheaters and liars. To have an Oni Hagun is also Ibid Hashem, Talmid Chacham, Avad, it's better. But don't be so machmir. Somebody who needs money, you give him money. He needs money for food, you give him money for food. And if you do it b'simcha, Baruch Hashem, because Baruch gave me that will awaken you to avodas Hashem, into simcha, and to say Avodat Hashem will learn more of that in Mitzvah Hashem in next Wednesday in this Torah. So, Avodat Hashem, we will continue. Tomorrow we'll learn Torah Mentes. And Mitzvah Hashem, Shabbos, we're going back to Sipur Baal Shem Tov, Sichos Haran, and having a good time. Thank you so very much, and see you, all of you. All the best of you.